Right here, you've had your hand up for so long, sweet.
Hi, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that I love you guys, and I started watching Supernatural when I was going through a really tough time in my life. So I feel like if it wasn't for you guys and the show, that I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I just want to say thank you.
I'm almost certain if it wasn't for the show, you wouldn't be in this room right now. I'm positive. That's very sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now, following the same eye line, there's a hat behind you that I imagine belongs to a human.
What is the strangest thing that has happened to you guys on set?
That right there.
Right there. Look at that's
A talking hat.
the strangest thing on. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's 8 years of strange.
You know, I will say, for me, and I love doing it, but playing my wife's husband in a bizarre universe where we figured out at one point in time when we were doing the scene, it was Jared and Jensen playing Sam and Dean, playing Jared and Jensen playing Sam and Dean. And that was,
Seriously, think about it.
yeah, that was probably that Nutcracker were probably two of my highest low points, so to speak. That was pretty strange. Falling in love was pretty strange. Getting married and then killing her was unusual. But yeah, Supernatural, I mean, 158 now? We just finished episode 8, so 157 episodes. Thanks, guys. Thanks for going through this with us.
We were just talking about the other day. We were just talking about crazy incidences on our show. One of them was the machine gun.
Oh, yeah.
Catching the casings.
That's right. In the
We
episode,
went down. To kind of set this up, we went down. A weekend, 2 weekends ago?
last weekend,
Last weekend
last Saturday.
to a friend of ours in just over the border in Washington owns a gun range, and so we go down there periodically and familiarize ourselves with firearms, so we don't look like idiots on the show. And it's just fun to shoot stuff. So we went down there, we were doing a lot of shooting all day, and we were talking about it. Something happened during the show that was kind of got brought up.
So in the episode where we're Leviathan, and we had Robin Banks, or they kind of cloned us, the gun that I had when we robbed the bank, the gun that I was supposed to shoot up at the ceiling, most often when you shoot a gun, it'll project the round off to the right. This one projected the round kind of straight up. And so the first
What kind of gun was that? Who designed it? What was it? A German gun?
probably Russian. Misha probably had something to do with it. Just kidding. But the way they wanted me to do it was to, shoot up in the sky and be like, everybody, calm down. But I couldn't hold the gun like this because the camera, the top of the frame was like right here. So I had to hold the gun like this. And the gun, I started firing and I started feeling some pain because the shells went like 1, 2, 3, one hit my lip and busted my lip. And I had like a perfect little shell casing mark on my
Mind you,
neck.
these are burning hot brass
Yeah.
coming out, so they're
Yeah.
so they just instantly burned circles onto his face and his mouth.
Yeah, and luckily, after a few rounds, I was like, something's hurting, I'm gonna stop shooting. Am I bleeding? And they were like, yeah, what just happened? And
So
so,
we had 3 perfect.
yeah, I had perfect little casing marks. So that was unusual and a lesson learned, no doubt.
Don't use that gun.
Yeah, don't use that. Kill myself with a frame. Over there. Yes, are you just stretching? Yes. And the black
Nothing, I'm good. No, really? You were just stretching. Okay, cool.
Did you have a question? No?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
To film?
Favorite episode? Oh, jeez.
I still gotta go, I gotta go back to the weirdest one. I think changing channels was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then French Mistake. And I just went back and watched random, but I guess they're re-showing the show on either Sci-Fi or Spike or something. Spades, and it's in season 1 right now. And I was like, this is a cool show. Who's that tall guy in it? Yeah, with the little hair and the little arms and stuff. He seemed like a spirited fellow. Yeah, so I watched it and Hookman was on. And I forgot how much I enjoyed Hookman. I was like, this is a cool show. This is a show I will watch. And so I watched it. It had been long enough that I'd forgotten. Way back.
Yeah, just curious, have you ever had any supernatural experience proving, or do you believe any of that stuff, or is this just, all that fun?
You know, I think, well, you take this one first.
Yeah, I don't, not really. And not to say that I don't, believe in this stuff, but maybe it's because I'm so jaded. Maybe it's because I'm so used to it that, anything that kind of goes bump the night, I'm like, bring it. Because it's a little different. It's not like, oh, let me, operate on this guy because I play a doctor on TV. It's like the stuff that we do on screen is actually researched, and that's supposedly the right stuff to do. All of the exorcisms are the actual taken out of exorcism books. The salt, the iron, all of this stuff comes from from the real stuff. So I kind of feel like if something were unexplained and something were messing with me, I kind of have this false sense of security and I can deal with that.
Well, I gotta say,
I got all the knowledge and the tools.
If there are demons and spirits and goblins and ghouls and bad guys out there, they probably watch the show and they probably wouldn't mess with us. So, but I'll go next door. So I certainly don't count it out, but I think they've left me alone so far. Now way in the back with the arm.
What's that?
You can't just do it. It's gotta.
Oh, that's gotta happen organically. That's just, you never know. Because it just...
See, I blacked out for a second. What happened?
I digress.
And over there.
And the white, yes.
Yes.
I work as a stunt director, so I was just curious what job you guys would like to have on set, but you can't say director if you already did that one.
I haven't. Director.
You mean what crew job would we pick if we had to? That's a good question.
That's a great question. You know what? This is kind of not really an on-set crew, but I'd love to be involved with the production of the show. I feel like when I was going to go to college, I was going to be an engineer, and it always fascinated me the behind-the-scenes things and how to put things together, how to figure things out, and how to write problems before they happen. And when I did Friday the 13th, they had an on-set producer there at all times that. For those under 18, shut your ears, but they called themselves the bullshit protectors. And so when something happened that they were like, no, that this is where people walk out of the movie, And so they tried to make it as real as possible. Like we've done with Supernatural. Obviously it's considering sci-fi. We've tried to stay true to the lore, which is kind of an oxymoron. But I'd love to be involved with the behind the scenes of the production.
It'd probably be a toss-up between stunt coordinator and carpenter. I won't be making as much money as this one. But no, I've always had a fun time. We both have always had a good time, kind of helping with the coordinating of the stunts and kind of, Lou Bolo, who is our stunt coordinator, is fantastic. He kind of knows not to kind of draw out a big stunt and dance and stuff, because he knows that when we show up, he's going to be like, hey guys, how do you want to do this? And he and I will work together very easily and very quickly in figuring out, the way the stunt's going to go.
It's like a cohesive unit as opposed to you do this, and shut up.
Right.
By this point in time, they know that we have a certain feel, and so Lou will get an idea, like we need some punches and kicks to happen over here, and y'all are gonna see a very cool fight coming up. It might involve me, and it might also involve him, but it's good.
True.
But they had an idea of what they wanted to happen, and they left it up to us to kind of fill in the blanks and to alter as necessary. And sometimes it's something as stupid as when if you're punching over here and you're punching somebody, and then they're supposed to punch you back, but they can't punch you if you throw the last punch like this, then it's throwing the last punch like that, and now someone's going to come this way and hit you that way. So it's kind of it's an interesting dance, and you learn how to do the basics, and then putting it together. It's kind of like a guitar, you learn the chords, and then you have fun mixing them up and putting them together. So it would be a lot of fun.
I will say that we do drive Lou crazy because we never put pads on.
Yeah.
And he's always like, Jensen, I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you, do you want to put your knee pads on? Nah, this is metal. This is so soft. I'm good, Lou. And he's like, why do I ask? And then as far as the carpenter goes, what guy didn't want to walk around with a hammer and a drill gun on his belt all day long? It's just awesome.
Hitting nails, tearing down walls. I'll go right here. Well hugs.
I love house too. I'm really curious to know how are Icarus and Oscar and Sadie doing? What have they been up to?
Sadie's great.
And Indy.
And Indy's the little King Charles that belonged to Jen that now I half own. Half of Indy is mine.
Oski and Icky are great. They're happy and healthy and loving life, and yeah.
And Sadie's good. Sadie's gonna be 10 in March. And she was like 3 when the show started, or 2 even. So
For those who don't know, these are our dogs.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are they talking about?
I thought they were married to
These
Neil
are,
and
I have 2
Timothy.
dogs, and he has 2 dogs.
Yeah, so they're good. They're just little. My guys are up in
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'll go right here. Where's
Okay, so in the past 2 days, we saw a lot of actors who had characters who actually died off. And so I wanted to know, which character would you like to see come back on the show?
I've died off too, for whatever it's worth.
And we both died off.
That's so difficult. And one of the great things about Supernatural is that we do kill people. I hate to say it, but in my opinion, probably still my favorite episode of Supernatural is where Bobby dies.
Yeah.
I mean it. I mean, I love Jim Bieber. The Bobby character is also fantastic, but it made for such good television. It made for such a good story. I mean, we were sitting there in this trailer watching it, and we were both like, it's Dustin. So, I mean, the list is all over the place. I mean, Jim, Mitch, Richard, Rob. Rob hasn't even died. We don't even know what's happening. But there's so many that have died that it would be great to have all of them back. I mean, we love these guys. And unlike, it's a weird television show because we still get to see them regularly.
Here's these things, because we get to do these things, we still get
Thanks,
to,
by the way.
yeah, we still get to see, Richard and Sebastian and Rob and these guys. I guess if there was one who I don't get to see here that I would like to come back would be John. Would be, and it's just cool. And I actually still talk to Jeff quite a bit. He's doing, for those of you who know, doing Magic City now, a TV series, and he's always like, man, as soon as this is over, I want to come back.
So you gotta keep us around long enough.
Yeah, you gotta keep us around long enough to get Jeffrey Dean back.
to bring him back. And now I'll go in the blue because you were so sweet to hand off the question.
Jensen, how fun or hard was it to do the Scream in Yellow Fever?
This is a good question to end on. That was all Phil Segrich's fault, who was our post-production producer and also director, and directed that episode. It did not say that in the script, and he simply said, "Hey, how long and horrible can you make your scream?" And
I said
think,
scream, not yell, so.
yeah, and I think I did it jokingly at first, and he was like, "Do that, but more." I was like, "Phil, come on, man. Are you really? Seriously?" And so we did it. I didn't think they'd use it. But the bad thing was I had to do it 2 or 3 times, and then we had the big scene in that same episode where Dean tosses Sam the keys and he's like, I'm out. Like, what kind of life is this? This is a ridiculous life. I'm out of here. That scene, we filmed that right after the screaming scene. And if you notice, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm actually hoarse in that scene. I'm like trying to, because I just ruined my voice screaming for half an hour. Yeah, that was.
I was, yeah, a few times during that episode, yeah, I just walked off.
Well, there was, and Phil doesn't like to yell cut. He's responsible for the Eye of the Tiger thing happening. So he just lets. And I don't know if it was in the blooper reel or something, but after I screamed, he just let us continue on, and I think I went running around and I jumped into your arms at one point. And it was, so yeah. Anyway, they're telling us that's it, guys. We'll be back later this afternoon to
Welcome.
chat. Thank you so much for showing up today. We'll see you in a little bit.
And welcome first timers. Very cool.